Okay, perfect, perfect. All right, let's then start with the codes. Okay, I see Atlas, I see Savior. You guys posted the replay, Fumiata. Okay, and Foxfired. Are you also
Yeah,
bringing yours?
I'm putting one in now. Yeah,
Okay, okay, that's fine. Also, I think let's do it this way because there've been a lot of people before. So what I want to do is just anyone who's getting their replay reviewed first time, we can maybe pause their name twice. So this way, new people get more chances to get their replay reviewed. I feel like, is it fine with you guys?
Yeah, that's fine. That makes sense. Let the new people get a chance first, and then, yeah,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
makes sense to me.
Yeah, that's all good. Okay, we also got Foxfire, that's fine. Okay, so Atlas, can you remind me, did you get your replay reviewed before? I think
No, this is first time.
yeah, that's first time. Okay, let's put in your name twice in there. I usually use Willow names, and we're gonna just choose the replay randomly because there might be a lot of replays coming in. And yeah, I'm just gonna do real brief replays, 15 to 20 minutes. We'll see how everything's gonna go, but yeah, should be all good. Okay, recording's up. Everything's gonna be uploaded to the academy just in case. And yeah, let's start the spin. All right, let's see what we get. Okay, both of you, Fumiata and Foxfire, I believe, have done a lot of the sessions on the... Okay, we got the Atlas, but yeah, before we also focused a lot on the Angela with you guys, but yeah, let's see, maybe we can get to review the Rogue, and the rest of it, it's... Yeah, for the Foxfire, at least, it's gonna be Phoenix and Hala. Okay, sounds good. Alright, let's start with Atlas. We have Gold 1 rank, it's gonna be Magneto, and your notes. My rank up, game to plat. Yeah, I want to know how I can increase game impact on tank overall. Sounds good. Let's focus on the fundamentals then. Let's do that, and whatever questions you're gonna have, just ask me those. You can also unmute. Maybe there's anything in particular you want me to focus on more. Let's do that. But yeah, what do you think about this game in specific? Is there anything what stands out to you? What do you feel like you need to work on? Or...
I think I can't remember this game massively. It was I think it was only the last game I played, but I think I was more starting to understand Mag a lot better, and I wanted to try and focus on how I can impact more with damage, because I usually get much lower damage than I would like to, even on tank. I feel as though I'm not contributing as much as I could do in most situations and team fights.
Makes sense. So just overall pressure seems a little bit off.
Yeah.
Overall damage. Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. Yeah, let's take a look. Also, G-Dog. Okay, I will put in your name as well. Also, are we reviewing your name? Sorry, are we reviewing your replay first time? Or is it gonna be... I believe it's the first time, right? G-Dog, can you help me out with this? But I believe it should be the first time, but... If not, if you already reviewed your replay, then we can start with... Yeah, we can just put in your name twice, but I think it should be all good. Okay, let's start with you, Atlas. I would say the most fundamental thing as a tank is always know where you're going to be absorbing the pressure, and there's a lot about just you actively applying the damage, obviously trying to disable the biggest, the most active angle on the enemy team side, making sure that you push them out, you disrupt their damage, and meanwhile you enable your own damage as well. It's really important. You have multiple things. You quite tanky as Magneto, and I feel like the biggest impact you can have is just knowing the timing of your bubbles, and your shift is pretty important too, but I would say it's mostly gonna be helping you out to go from point A to point B, and maybe sometimes there's obviously situations where we have to block something important. Yeah, we have to, maybe there's gonna be an ultimate, or maybe there's gonna be also certain projectile we can block too. I think that's something what you can take advantage of. But yeah, let's see how we playing this. So first off, just starting with a little bit of pressure right towards the tank, which it can be okay, but you always want to watch the opportunities. If you can, shoot their backline a little bit, but yeah, let's keep watching. Also, are you okay with me starting right at the start, or are you interested at any specific point in here?
No, I don't think there's anything particular that I thought about. I just I wanted to know going into plat how my current gameplay would stack up impact wise.
Yeah, of course, of course. Yeah, okay, let's keep watching. Also, Savior, I know GFS will mention it, but your goal as Mag is to target backline and DPS players who are out of position. Yes, 100%. Just as any tank, well, it's not necessarily that it's always about DPS player. It's more you're paying attention to active angle, and active angle is based on the multiple triggers. It can be their position, it can also be the status of their cooldowns if they use something, maybe they're committing an ultimate as well. That is something what you can be trying to push towards. That's your goal as a tank usually. That's how I would put it personally as a tank player and just as a coach in general. But yeah, let's see how this is gonna turn out. Let's just watch a little bit. I would like to just go over any sort of patterns I noticed the biggest thing right away. There are obviously a lot of nuances we could talk about, but yeah. So far, just starting out with the main, trying to get Sue, and I would say eventually you guys able to get a pick. Sure, it should be possible to maybe move a little bit to make space, but it feels kind of uncomfortable. So maybe let's start with this actually right away, and that is something to think about in any game as a tank. I would not necessarily think about putting yourself in the position where you're in front of the other tank or sort of in this main lane, but try to come up with the angles where you're still playing your effective range, but rather try to experiment with your angles a little bit. So as a mag, generally speaking, you pretty long to mid-range oriented tank, so it's okay for you to find any options instead of being here-ish. You can always find the option to either be on the left side or the right side. Yeah, there are always options, but those positions should help you to target the more active angle in a way. So for example, if I want to target this space, yeah, because ultimately you as a tank, you're fighting for the certain space on the map, yeah, you're thinking about just what is that area you're fighting for, and in here you have a few people you can be shooting already, right? We maybe have the support, we have the Invis woman, we also have the there's gonna be the from time to time, yeah, I think the Star-Lord was engaging too, yeah, maybe there Elsa as well is over here, and I'm thinking you're not necessarily chasing the backline, but you also need to try to position yourself to help yourself out a little bit. And I usually describe it as a mag as try to find out somewhere the spot on the map where you can stay at 45 or 90 degree even. Sometimes it depends, but let's say my team is over here at a position A. I don't have to stack with my team. There's no reason to, because your job as a tank is to first find a way to apply pressure, and then second, you're absorbing the attention of the enemy team in the right space. So I don't have to necessarily play with my team to do that. I can still play at my own angle. So for example, here I can stay at the position B, or I can play at the position B1, and I still drag attention in the space which matters for my team, because I provide the threat, to the enemy backline. That's how I would put it. So just try to experiment to see what are the options. I feel like it's gonna be okay if you're trying to think about just going here a little bit, because you can get to that backline a little bit more comfortably. But yeah, does this idea make sense? Trying to go on off angle 45, maybe to 90 degrees sometimes, but yeah. Does it make sense, Atlas, or any questions?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
I think my brain always says, stay in front of everyone.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
that's what you would assume that the tank's job would be. But it makes sense.
Yeah, that's true. That's understandable. That's how it's been in the games like Overwatch as well. A lot of the people, they usually talk about that. Well, you, especially as a main tank, you have to kind of play main, but a lot of the times it's not necessarily true, because your job is to absorb the pressure, and absorbing the pressure doesn't mean standing in the way of the damage. It's rather set up your own pressure, so you force an enemy to make a move, and then you do that by playing your own effective lanes, effective range. By the way, there's been a class on lane theory if we talked about it, so you can decide what lane you're choosing according to the character you play. So for example, if we watch a little bit, let's just skip a little bit more forward. Yeah, we talked about this first fight, but let's say you're trying to approach towards this here. You have a few options. Sometimes we have to maybe spend some time to break through the choke, but once those guys will fall back in towards this space, there's quite a lot you can do. Maybe you can try to swing on the left side. Maybe there's even an option, if you have time sometimes, to try to control the top right, but it's just always gonna be somewhere where you're comfortable doing the damage, and make sure that you can keep this uptime. But yeah, for now, of course, we need to also spend some time maybe breaking so the chokes like that. That's okay, but I want you to always search for the options. How can I use my effective range while doing so, and I don't have to play in front of the guys? So for example, in here, maybe in ordinarily I can stand right in front of the payload, but I can stay slightly to the side. And you also trying to pick your duel. Yeah, you're picking the damage you're exposing to. You never want to be exposed to most of the damage. Let's put it this way. You only want to be exposed to the damage which matters to your team. So if I know that we're fighting for this corner, then maybe it's only worth it to expose to this damage here. But yeah, that's how I would think about it most of the time. Okay, do you have any questions, by the way, or is everything clear so far?
No. I think
Okay.
another thing that I just thought of, I think in this game, I think I may have got a Star-Lord middle out of the air with my ult, but I think another thing is my ult usage. I always try and use it for support ults, but I've realized recently that because it takes in all projectiles, you can use it in like a thing ult to counteract your team being killed and things like that. And yeah, I just think my ult usage could be better overall. I don't know how it is in this game.
Yeah, well, it's fine. I think that's important as well. I would highly suggest, usually, especially if we're starting out with fundamentals, always try to first off find ways to be proactive. So we're rather not thinking about what we counter, because put it this way: you're top 500 player in this lobby, and it's gold rank. Would the top 500 player hold the ultimate for the silver or the gold player, right? And just mostly the answer is no. We usually try and find the way to build our own pressure. So yes, you still keep in mind their ultimates, but at the same time, you try to force out something as well. So you not necessarily have to wait for their action, but maybe put a little bit of pressure, normal fire. Yeah, maybe there's going to be even starting out with your ultimate might be a good choice, but you start because you're trying to bait something. Yeah, yeah, that's totally fine tool as well. Of course, there are nuances to it, but I would not necessarily hold the ultimate most of the time starting out here. Once you're gonna be more and more experienced with this, more how to be more proactive sort of thing, then I suggest, yes, 100% might be worth it to watch what they will come up with. Here you start absorbing that attention. Yeah, maybe there's gonna be Star-Lord to ultimate, fine, you can start using yours, but always also have the plan what you're gonna be doing with the pressure of your ultimate as well. That's the most important in my opinion. But yeah, anyway, yeah, as a defensive tool like this, it can be fine. Yeah, it can be fine. Just make sure that's a part of the plan. Yeah, you first off kind of searching for your own pressure, which we did. We did put in the pressure on the back line. That's fine. Yeah, maybe there have been a few picks, and that's understandable. Then it's gonna be okay to answer after, but obviously make sure that you're aware what's coming next, so this way it makes it easy. Okay, let's keep maybe just one more fight and see what else we can add there. But yeah, I would mostly focus on how to do my own pressures to the angle, especially based on what you said before. And obviously a lot of the things about the bubbles, that's really important part of the kit. But yeah, let's see, just one more fight. A good uptime here, early damage is always fine. Make sure that you maintain the range after that a little bit, and we have the opportunity to answer their pressure. So for example here, right, if they do something, okay, we can maintain a range, which is okay. Just playing a little bit to the side on the left side is fine. Unless you find the opening, maybe if your team is doing a lot of pressure or you can get a kill, then sure, I think that's fine. Okay, other than that, the fight goes okay for you guys. Okay. Yeah, I would say that's going pretty decently so far, but yeah, based on the first fights and what you said, I would just think about the lane I can take at any point of time, and make sure that first off, your range is comfortable, and second, you get access to the right targets here. Just not necessarily you have to play in the main, just try to experiment with the side lanes a little bit more. Usually it's going to be more open lanes for you, because you're playing mag. I would say it's fine. I would start there first, kind of come up with maybe something what can be useful is I do talk a lot about power positions, so we can also start there. Yeah, just the positions where you have more options. In general, try to search for the good lane for you, and it should be alright. Yeah, anyway, do you have any questions? I know it's been pretty brief, and yeah, anyway.
No, I don't think so. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem. We can also review your replay later once we have time. I do the replay reviews 2 times per month ideally, so yeah, should be all good. Right, we got a few replays in as well. It's gonna be Argur. Yeah, I hope I pronounced your name correctly. Okay, we got Rogue, and it's also gonna be Saver, G-Dog. Okay, also G-Dog. Are we putting your name twice? I assume we do, because we're reviewing your game for the first time, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Also, what about...
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. And what about Argur? Yeah, I think it's also the first time we are doing this.
Thanks.
Yeah, okay, perfect. All right, let's spin the wheel then. There's definitely more chances for G-Dog and Argur now, but let's see what we get. Okay, we got G-Dog, and it's gonna be Venom. Diamond 3. Alright, let's take a look. Museum of Contemplation, trying to see if I have the playstyle right. Okay, let's take a look. Let's take a look. The same for the mental stuff still, probably let's focus on that. Just making sure that you synchronize the pressure with the rest of your core, with the rest of your team, and at the same time your setup should be all solved too. And because you're playing Venom, it's quite mobile tank, and just how do you get in the position is so important. You usually need to start there first, and then after that you can look for the timing with the rest of your core. But yeah, anyway, let's see. Yeah, are there any other notes you have, or that's about it? Is there any specific part you wanted me to focus on?
I struggle with playing dive, so I'm trying to learn Venom so I can play in a dive comp.
That's fine. That's fine. Okay, let's take a look. So we started out actually setting up, and I would say always good idea to try to see if there is somebody you can complement your pressure with. Like Xavier said, yeah, a lot of the times I would say try to time the pressure with DPS player, try to see where they can apply something, and then you also go for the dive with them. Like in your case, it's going to be Daredevil quite a lot. So let's see. What are we doing here? Setup, being sneaky, that's a pretty okay move to me. Plays out okay for you guys. Let's see the timing. Let's see the timing, if that's right. I would say for the most part it looks okay-ish, but yeah, maybe just a second later if we... because it's really important for the dive, just a little bit more commitment when these guys actually get to be a little bit more aggressive. Usually prefer the second group to be kind of playing this choke here, which they do. And once the enemy starts crossing, kind of getting close to the choke, then this way it makes it easier. So your attention is going to be split evenly. Yeah, some of the attention will go to you, some of the attention goes to Groot, but it still sort of worked out, right? Because the Groot started taking damage, so it's definitely good timing, but I'm thinking let them just walk in slightly more, just a little bit. I always talk about that with the dive guys because it's just something what makes your life easier significantly. But yeah, anyway, but look for the dive in the backline, especially with Daredevil was good. And then trying to play it slow here on the main, that's fine. Look for the slam there, I think why not? Okay, then after that we need to set up again. Yep, do the setup. If you have the advantage, you can keep going and just keep following up with the damage here. I would say a lot of teams, they try to spawn camp this area. I think this is doable. Why not? Definitely possible. Okay, gonna keep playing here. Right, a little bit of damage. Okay, so I'm thinking we have the really good direction. I would just kind of keep doing this more frequently. So when you're looking for this damage, let's just go back a little bit. Yeah, so we started the pressure from the back line, so now, especially during this time, you have an advantage. It might be okay to keep pushing forward, but first off, it's really important to prepare for the next fight too, in my opinion. So you can make these guys extend a little bit more, and then once the rest of your group, yeah, especially your Groot here, there's a second tank, they start doing something, and then you can follow up on that. So, see, it's not bad to also kind of keep pushing, getting the staggers, but I would say really, really important here is not that I'm only pushing the staggers, but maybe finding a way for you to set up in a little bit more comfortable way. That's what I'm thinking, but I'm not sure how you would go about it. Actually, are you guys communicating with your Daredevil?
No, I was just trying to kind of follow him around.
Yeah, just see what they are doing here. Yeah, makes sense, makes sense. Yeah, so I would personally, because they have to follow up your aggression, which is fine, and they sort of trying to set up your kind of wait a little bit, maybe take it just extra second for you in here, because this area might be a little bit tough, unless you guys have a big advantage, which is maybe you get 2 picks at least, and you can consider kind of slamming in, go in from the main here. But if it's not, then maybe being just slightly more patient, you can try to swing in on the angle, you can try, or maybe sometimes walk in on the angle, and then once these guys will start entering your kill box, which is going to be in here-ish, then we can start diving in. Just kind of 1-2 seconds later dive, and this way it's gonna make the things much easier. I would say it's okay, maybe, sometimes to ignore the rules, but you really have to be confident if you're able to get a kill. If yes, then sure, you can go for the dives like this, but now we spend the time diving, and this guy's been able to successfully peel because they a little bit too far from our kill zone, and then afterwards we don't have our ability, so we cannot distract these people once they start walking, if that makes sense. You just try to think about it a little bit more, in my opinion. That is gonna help out a lot. It doesn't make sense, by the way, or should I elaborate?
No, that makes sense. I just need to be a little bit more patient.
Yeah, exactly. But other than that, I feel like for the most part it's gonna be alright, yeah, especially if you're learning that character, just with the way you set up initially, that's fine. Yeah, maybe try to think about the options with, even during this time when you're disadvantaged, how can I set up my pressure next? Yeah, find a way to get your resources back, and you're not necessarily will be face-to-face tanking, again, unless there's a good reason why, and you will be setting up at a more comfortable angle. I don't know, what are your options? Maybe try to go here. Yeah, maybe grab HP back, wait, hold on a little bit. Once you see the opening, then you can go. Maybe if you're at really big disadvantage, then give up the card. I mean, just down the card, and you can reset for the next one. But it feels like we might still have time to reset, so it's not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. Of course, the people might chase you, but there's a lot of freedom you have with those areas. Yeah, those kind of connected to this point as well. So if somebody's late, you can always go back to them, and you get all the support. So I would say why not? But to stay somewhere over here, just on the flank like we did it the first time. But yeah, other than that, should be okay. Yeah, let's see how we're setting up. We used our swing for rotation, which is fine. Yeah, this one is interesting one for sure. A lot of people have been getting environmental killed by the Elsa, I noticed. It's just something what's worth tracking overall, because you don't want to get trapped. And it's just a symptom, though. In my opinion, you don't take the fight here, regardless. Even though, if I don't know, the Elsa's ultimate is there. Still, try to focus on your setup. Where can you go first? So maybe your option can be just go here. Try to go somewhere in the back. It's usually gonna be you distracting to make these guys make sure they make a full 180 turn a lot of the times. So maybe it can be worth it. Maybe it's gonna be up on the wall somewhere. I'm thinking, what are possible angles? Maybe like over here. Yeah, you have to experiment with this, but it's just something what gives you easy access to their backline. Short range angle and somewhere from the flank most of the time. Unless there is a good reason why you do this, yeah, which is, I'm not sure there is enough reason for us to stay here. Not sure about the plan, but yeah, obviously it might be different. There's a lot of the stuff teams might come up with. Especially if you have the ultimate, maybe you can cheat the rules, but usually it's gonna be somewhere in the back. Yeah, so this sort of thing. Yeah, just trying to climb up, go somewhere, take the time. Then after that, we're looking for the slam in. And this is pretty well synchronized too, by the way. Gets you a lot of value. You see the second group of people, they're also being active too. So I think that's going to be quite useful. That's how you go about it, to be honest. By the way, I think the lesson I did, it's been 3 lessons ago, we talked about the group splits. That's something what you have to think a lot about the divers. In general, you will notice that they're going to be at least 3 groups you will come up with. Yeah, maybe one group, it can be you and Daredevil. The second group, it can be more frontline group with a Groot in here. And maybe Mantis can take their own off angle, maybe Ultron as well. But usually there's going to be at least 2 or 3 groups, generally speaking. Diamond level, GM level, still worth it. Still always worth it to search how you can split. Yeah, what your group split is gonna be. Yeah, so this one is just a little bit tough to perform because first off, you a little bit too far. Yeah, so I would just get a little bit closer, find a way. Maybe this wall can also work, but then let these guys to go in. Maybe there are not too many options. I'm not sure. What can we do? Now let's see. Maybe can set up, just go anywhere else. Maybe go right side room. Might feel that you will get poked out, so maybe at least waiting just extra second might be worth it then, in this case. If you choose in that area. And see this dive, right? So I'm going for this, but then this guy's already backing up. Yeah, there's a lot of the peeling and sort of the kiting. The kiting is going on, yeah, but you want these guys to be trapped in 2 fires. It's what we call pincering. You pincer the enemy between 2 fires, so this way you can catch somebody, especially the squishes. That's how I would put it. Okay, I would say that's about it. Yeah, maybe something to start with. You just keep doing what you did at the start, but more consistency. And think about the kill box. Once those guys start being more aggressive, your first group, then you can look for the dive. That's how I would put it. Yeah, do you have any questions, or does it make sense?
That makes a lot of sense.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, let's start with. I'm also gonna add one more name in here. Okay, let's do that, and yeah, should be fine. Okay, let me actually do this. Okay, so we put in your name twice. Yeah. Black Panther music, or how do I pronounce it? BP music. I think we're doing the replay with you for the first time, if I'm not mistaken. So I guess I'm gonna put in the name twice too. All right. Yeah, it seems like so. Yeah, let's just start the spin. Yeah, gotcha. Yeah. That's what I decided to do because I just want the new people to get their replays reviewed as well. Are we getting Fumiata? Okay, perfect. Why not? Okay, let's see. We are learning Rogue. Okay, how that's been going for you so far? All that learning. What do you think you need to work on? Oh, it's a Fumiata. I can't talk. Oh, that's all good.
Fumi did tell me that she's listening. Just can't talk.
Oh, that's all right. That's all right. Okay. Let's maybe. Yeah. Do you want? It's super newbie. Do you want me to review this still, or? Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Let's take a look. So, I would say, because this character is pretty mechanical, I wouldn't focus on this too much. This is something what you probably also more are gonna be more experienced than I do, but let's just focus on the fundamentals like we usually do. I would say with this character, you have decent amount of mobility, but it's not like an Angela where we usually come up with this 180 angles. I feel like you have to always find the way to start with somewhat of a 190 angle of attack if possible, but it's gonna be the short range at the same time too. Yeah, you're pretty short range character. Of course we can look for the dives, whatnot, but I'm just thinking about how to also avoid all that poke damage which the enemy might come up with. But let's see. I feel like most of the time if we're trying to break through the choke for that reason, might be worth it to just look for what I can do through this room maybe. But let's keep watching. You just at least at the start here. Maybe you can look for the dive from here. Yeah, that's fine. Kind of go for it with the verticality, right? Going for the dive here, but we decided not to, which is okay because those guys are cutting. That's fine. Yeah, the dive timings here are gonna be really important if you ever decide to commit to those. Okay, there's a little trap too. Yeah, sort of. It's, in my opinion, this ability is a big. It's not only about just you adding the ability, but it's also just removing the threat and punishing the most aggressive person. Yeah, so I think this one is gonna be alright. Okay, sure. Okay, play the main side. Search for the options. What we can do next? Yeah, it seems we have to be cutting here, which is alright. Okay, keep playing this side. That's fine. I would like maybe just get closer. Don't waste your time. Kind of similar to Angela. Yeah, what I do is I search for the options to get closer. Of course, you have to experiment and see what's going on, but I always think what are my options. Maybe I would experiment if I can maybe use even this part of the map. Yeah, like thinking, okay, left lane, right side lane, but there's a lot of this sort of situations when you play more brawl or just short range oriented characters. You start on the main, you get poked out a lot. That's what I would avoid to do. Even though you have this ability to dive, I'll just search for the options, what you can do. That's my thought process. Yeah, I might be wrong with this a little bit too, but yeah, that's what I would think about a lot. Just kind of the way like you do with Angela, because you always provide this threat this way, kind of indirect threat. You make them look away, and with Rogue, you cannot flank as much, but at the same time, you have decent amount of mobility, so I would take advantage of it during the setup phase still. Kind of search for this 90 angle options. Left, right, because now we take a lot of poke, we get in, yeah, and we're already at this position anyway, which we wanted to. You know, if you want to, of course. Yeah, you especially because you guys, I assume you guys playing as a team, you have a certain plan, which your setup depends on a lot, but it's definitely something you have to be careful with. Okay, this one looks better, right? We have the shorter sideline, we're full HP. Now we're approaching, just going towards this corner. Let's see how is this gonna work out. Okay. Yeah, sure. A lot of stuff going on here, but I feel like overall that's looking pretty decent with the dives from the side. Let me see just what we can add there. Okay. So what I would think about, well, what if once we look for the dive like this, we search for the options to just go towards the shorter sideline right away. I'm not sure how you can pull this off, but I'm just also curious to hear what do you think. But yeah, I understand you're not able to talk, but it's just something what comes to mind right away. If I done this, it's just during the moments when I have to stabilize as well, right after the dive especially, what corner I'm going towards, so I will not be punished by all the damage or like all the stuff which might come in to the main. Especially the fact given they have Elsa ultimate, which I think is scary when you're quite stacked up together. You don't want to be dragged in the zone where you can get killed. Let's see how they pull this off actually too. So they can, yeah, they kind of push you right away, which is maybe not the best use, but oh yeah, actually okay, this works. Yeah, it just drags you back again. All right. Yeah. Oh yeah, Fumiata, if you have any questions to anything else, what do you think about this? Then yeah, you can tap it in. But yeah, so far, let's just keep watching. So this is what I'm thinking. Just either left side, maybe right side, just a short range pressure, so you can also avoid the things like this to happen. Just kind of keep it maintaining the lane like you would do with Angela. Because what happens if you get pushed with the Angela? You would not necessarily go back to your team entirely. That's what I think. Okay, sure. Engaging in, find a way to do so. Why not? This time it's just you can ignore the rules if you have the ultimates up. I think why not? Yeah, a lot of the small mechanics I wouldn't even focus to. There's a lot of nuances to it, so yeah, for now I wouldn't do that. We're just kind of looking at fundamentally how it works. Okay, short range sideline is fine. They're also scouting a little bit here. Are there any other option? I think this is fine. Yeah, just keeping them busy in the choke most of the time on the character like this is gonna be alright. Maybe you can kind of look for, if you're really confident they're gonna touch for a space like here, but you don't want to get poked out, so I'm not sure about this one. I feel like playing the choke is gonna be the best start ever. So, I'll be good. They get captured the point too. Ah well, what happens here? Feels you guys just overcommit here a little bit, which is, I'm not sure. You captured. Okay, so it's right on time. Yeah. Okay, that's a little bit. Okay, I see. Yeah, well, they might touch the card, but I guess you guys going for the Groot, so they will not go for it fully. I think that's alright. Just in this case, maybe right after you see the checkpoint, just try to play it slow. Anyway, you guys don't have to make any move in here once the point is captured. Like, don't even move inside it. Yeah, because we're thinking about all this play our kills on this, right? So I'd rather let them pass and play on our terms. We have the baddest pawn here too. We okay at just also with them burning the ultimates early because the card is making no progress whatsoever. It's more about the team play here. I think the defense I play a little bad too, even though I kind of feed, I think. Yeah, that's alright, that's alright. Yeah, there's quite a lot of the things you can do with this character, so... It just comes down to, first off, maybe find ways to reduce the poke setup. Yeah, like you do with the Angela, make sure it's just gonna be working out the best, the sideline. Okay, let's see where we're starting to. Okay, started at this left side. I'm thinking maybe. Let's see what you guys are doing here. Okay, so we actually managed to pull off the hook. Okay, trying to follow up on that a little bit. Fine, punishing this. That's alright. Yeah, just for the cases like this, ignoring the rules is always fine. But if maybe there's no opening like this, just find the options where you can go. Maybe it's gonna be the right side, left side, always the shorter sideline. But yeah, let's keep watching. Now also trying to stabilize here. Playing the corners here. This is pretty well played. Okay, now we have to kind of go in and start fighting face to face. Okay, there's a lot of anti-heal too. Keep fighting, sure. That works. It's just sometimes you have to... It's just something I'm thinking about it. It's not about disengage, but it's just about those characters in general. When you decide to engage like this in a straight line, you have to be really cautious. If they know that you're coming in, that's gonna be usually something you need to think about. Just try to readjust the sideline a little bit, because especially if we're talking about the high tier play, they will be expecting you to dive, so maybe if they have something what may disrupt you, that is also a lot of the times what you'll be thinking about the rogue. Yeah, just try to make sure it's not as linear. You're not diving in a line, kind of going from your front to their front or like their back, but you rather set up on the angle so they have to look away. That's the purpose. Yeah, I don't know, but there's a lot of fun stuff too, with just you guys making progress here. The first point's been pretty good. My main concern was right after, at least you guys as a team here, once you got the point, there's no need for you guys to go over aggressive. Yeah, wait for them to make a move. Maybe they have to touch the point, especially the fact given you guys had more brawl power in there, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, you had the Groot. So I think it's fine. If you know that there's going to be the short range, you have to keep them busy. That's okay. Just keep doing that. And unless there's a good chance, good reason why you dive in the backline, then yeah, go for it. But other than that, it's just this. I'm learning setting up on sidelines more. Yeah, that's what I think. I think try to experiment with this a little bit more, in my opinion. Obviously, you cannot go as deep as Angela, maybe, because you kind of fly forever, but I would try to think about at least 90 angles in... from what I've seen so far on Dado Rogues, it's gonna be quite okay most of the time. Yeah, you have mobility, so why not? It's kind of what we talk a lot about with Thor players too, and that's what I was initially thinking about the Thor too. It's just you don't have to play the front line, you still have mobility, and this character you also have mobility, but you can also brawl, but it doesn't mean we have to sit on the main. Yeah. Okay, so our main takeaways: set up closer sidelines, make sure you're waiting the poke, use sidelines a little bit more. That's my main point. And be cautious about the area where you're fighting. Yeah, don't overcommit. That's gonna be alright. Alright, let's maybe do another replay. Let's do another. Okay, I'm gonna remove this. But yeah, I will be excited to watch a little bit more Rogue later. Yeah, let's maybe chat a little bit, see what we can do as well. All right, let's spin the wheel. Are we adding anyone else? I feel like there's no more names, right? Okay, we got Saber. Also, I gotta. Okay,
No, give it to the new person. I want a new person to it. Plus, I'm a comp also. So yeah, I kind of can't do a lot.
you know what?
'cause I'm
I
in
forgot
comp.
to do. I forgot to remove one G-Dog name, so I think we have to spin anyway.
No, just give it to a new person. Just skip me. Give it to a new person.
Oh, you want it? Okay. Who?
Yeah,
Send?
I want the new people to get it.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Hello.
Should we give it to Send then, or we? Well, I can.
Just anyone. I don't care.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, I will remove your name, and let's just do it this way. Yeah.
No,
I'll
don't
put it-
remove my name. Just
Well,
skip me for now, because I still want you to vibe review it.
okay, that's fine. It's just, I think we're not gonna have enough time to review everybody, so yeah, you have to choose.
Damn.
It's gonna be you or someone else.
Nah,
Probably.
I'm not gonna be selfish. That I want the
Alright.
new people to have fun.
All right, that's fine. Okay, let's do it this way. Just gonna remove the name for now because I would say that there are a lot of names already, and we just have time for 2 more at least because we just cannot do it for more than 1 hour, unfortunately. But yeah, it's all right. It's all right. I'm just gonna put in Send. You new here as well, I believe, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, perfect. I will put in your name twice. That's just for the high chances for new players to get their replay reviewed. Also, okay, I actually forgot to remove the G-Dog. Okay, I'm sorry. But yeah, well, yeah, let's just remove this for now. And yeah, let's also remove this one. And yeah, we should be all good for the next round. Starting with Sand. Okay, Daredevil, GM2, House Heaven. Let's take a look. Okay, let's take a look and see. What do you think you need to work on? You gotta go? Yeah, all good, all good. Fimiata. Bye-bye. Okay, we are... Yeah, what do you think, Sam?
I feel like I need to work on more of knowing, like, the push and pull of fights.
Sort of the tempo.
Because it's...
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's very hard for me to react in the moment to what's going on. Because I get tunnel visioned when I'm diving or like brawling.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah, let's take a look. I would say maybe something what comes to mind right away if there's ever a problem. Decide, do you push in? Do you fall back? It's just more to do with your first off, peripheral vision. You're just scouting, seeing, okay, what is that on the kill feed? Also, what is that the other people are doing on the field as well? Yeah, and I think you're gonna be more comfortable whenever you're more on autopilot with your own set of things first. Yeah, maybe you're comfortable with setting up already. You are comfortable with all the combos, which this character is pretty good at, right? I'm thinking it's gonna be easier for you to scout all that peripheral information, and it's just about putting in effort at the end of the day. I think nobody's perfect. Once you scout the kill feed, yeah, once you scout, maybe there's gonna be a specific enemy you will try to scout for. But the more you do it, the easier it's gonna be. Just pick any character you're trying to scout or any ability you're trying to scout, and this way it makes it easy for the entire dynamic. Because the tempo is, first off, gonna be highly based on the numbers. Yeah, who has the numbers advantage and who is using ultimate as well. So maybe that is something what you can start with. Track ultimates, track the numbers of the character. So for example here, I start in, which our setup, I think it's looking good, but yeah, let's see. We started in the side lane, which is fine most of the time. Yeah, kind of short range flank. Most of the time, that's what you're looking for. Yeah, starting out here. Fighting the Daredevil a little bit. It's gonna be fine. You have an advantage, so you can keep pushing. Yeah, you can keep fighting. Keep committing after this guy. Alright, that's good. Secure the kill. Fine. We have the short range angle again. Perfect. Can dive in. Search for another isolated target. You have an advantage. Sure. We can keep pushing now. Can maybe even deal with their tanks for now. You got 2 picks already. So that seemed decent to me, the entire setup, and just finding the isolated target there. Okay. Yeah, now doing this, and this is something to think about. Of course, before the fight, you cannot be too aggressive, but always watch for the options. If you have an advantage, if you can get the staggers, especially if your tank is pushing the space, then try to search for it. If not, then at least trying to set up on the angle like you do. Yeah, just going above somewhere. Yeah, but it's really, really important to do it as soon as possible then. Yeah, make sure you don't get poked out from the main and you kind of have full resources. And then your first priority is going to be probably kill Daredevil. Just try to maybe push them out first, and then after that you can set up the pressure on their backline. The rest of them, I feel like Namor maybe is gonna be one of the targets you will go for. Maybe you can also fight Spider-Man on the angle, but yeah, it just depends if they fight you or not. This is the first thing you have to fight for, 100%. Let's see how we do that though. Alright, alright. So kind of know they're here, but yeah, you decide to go for the dive. Yeah, that's alright if you find an opening. Kind of skipping this entirely. So I'm actually curious, so for this one, what was your thought process? Is it just more like, this guy is not providing the threat, yeah, he's like not diving, you have an opening, so let's dive the backline, or yeah, what are you thinking about doing this, usually?
I was mostly thinking about it would just take too long to try and get him from where he is, so I would just target someone else, because Daredevil 1v1s just take way too long and take too many resources.
Yeah, and at the same time, we have a little bit less of resources too, yeah, so maybe it's not worth it to take the duel right away, but it's okay. Well, yeah, if there's gonna be an opening on the backline like this, they take a lot of damage too, especially the kind of, like we talked about that with Venom, where if they push in any of your kill box, I think you're free to go, and of course keep in mind their cooldowns, whatever they can dodge you with, but I think that's fine. They enter your space, dove in the support, and that's what you would need to be cautious about though. You cannot afford yourself to take a lot of damage, like we talked about it with Fumiata or just any other like Venom. Yeah, after the dive like this, you can be pushing from the main, but you have to do it step by step carefully. Yeah, you cannot just walk in a straight line, because if you take a lot of damage, then because there's a lot of space between you and anyone you trying to close the distance with, it's just not gonna end up too good. So rather try to search for the options instead of going for the straight line push. You still can take space. Yeah, that's fine. I think you're reading the tempo correctly, but do more of a zigzag movement. Yeah, go left, right, search for the options. How can I do this? And let your tank to grab in some initial attention to. Like, let this rogue to tank initial something. So this way it's gonna be easier, because your general thought process on pushing is fine. Just take it slightly slower. And this way we can live longer, obviously, maybe secure the kill, and then after that you can prepare for the next fight. Might be challenging who? Maybe Wolverine on the same angle, but let's see. Let's see who we're gonna be. Yeah. How is it gonna be the next time? Okay, starting out an off angle, that's good. Now set up the pressure on the backline, not good. I would say, well, let's watch that, but I would say this is not fundamental. I don't like it. Why? Because, again, you have to cross a lot of the space. Yeah, you just maybe try to get closer. What are your options? Even trying to just swing in on the left side, maybe. You can try to also use this right side angle, but I don't like the linear movement, that's for one. You get a lot of damage in your face, and second, it's just too much distance, like we talked about before. But yeah, it's definitely a fine target to go for in general, but just the kind of the way we do that, I feel like you're gonna be forced to use a lot of the resources, or your HP will get you'll get deleted faster. Basically, that's how I would put it. But yeah, anyway, there's a lot. Yeah, you're quite good at setting up, taking all the right angles here. It feels okay. Rogue standing out on the angle too. By the way, that's what I would experiment with. Yeah, if we're talking about the previous replay, the Fumiata, what are the options for us to get closer with a sideline like this, where I'm away from my team and I'm off angle, but I don't get poked as far. Yeah, it's hard. It's just kind of like those positions here. It's gonna be alright. Anyway, starting out, our rogue goes in. Looks good. Okay. Can follow up on that. Yeah, looks decent. Looks decent. Not sure. Yeah, it feels there not too many problems with the tempo, at least in this one. It's just rather, let's avoid the poke damage, and once you have really big advantage, then don't fully ignore everything and go in, but take it step by step. Yeah, make sure that you capitalize of the advantage. You can take space, but you want to do it slowly. Yep, that's how I would put it. Yeah. Do you have any questions or?
Okay. No.
No questions. Okay, yeah, if you want to, we can also watch a little bit more, just at least one more fight and see, again, just around the same things. I think we still should have enough time. Yeah, let's watch one more fight, and then I'm gonna do one more replay. It should be alright, we should have time for it. Okay, starting out on this... I think this lane where we started with is gonna be alright. Okay. This one, I'm not sure. So, the entire dynamic, right? When we are doing something, I would say, if you look at the big picture, it might seem alright, because you lost the guy, then you're trying to kind of push this guy's back a little bit, but it's just gonna be something, because your tank goes in a little bit too far in. Yeah, they grab a lot of the attention, but the rest of your team now, they cannot take advantage of it as much, in my opinion. Yeah, you just kind of need to wait for the guys to extend in your kill box. They just make sure they walk in on your space a little bit more, and then it's gonna be easier. Of course, maybe, if you sync the pressure with this rogue, if you know that, okay, there's a high chance to get a kill, maybe possible, but still low chance. I think you need to think about the rest of your team as well. That's even more important. Yeah, the rogue just feels they kind of went a little bit too far. Sometimes happen, but this entire dynamic, yeah, obviously you will be using an ultimate, and you'll be using early, I feel like, but wait for the space, yeah, wait for the right space to come with, yeah, where you have the tempo, because now in that space we don't have any. Now, your entire team is just set up to play the point correctly, yeah? Obviously, they maybe try to make the stretch and try to chase where we are, but it's gonna be difficult. And that's why you play it slow, because you realize, I cannot find the opening, right? But let's say you do it later, once they start doing this, which they will, because they have to make a move, but wait for them to do so, and then after that we can do something. Yeah, that's how I would put it. Oh well. Do you have any questions, Sand, or is everything clear about the push and pull dynamic, and maybe any other questions, or what do you think?
No more questions. I'm starting to get it.
Okay,
I
perfect.
understand.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. Then, as a summary, just thinking about the space where the fight is going to be taken, you let the enemy team to walk in. Yeah, kind of baiting them in a space sometimes too. Yeah, they walk in, like you did a really good job on the first point with setup. Yeah, they walk in, you have the short range flank setup for you with the rest of your core. They're able to follow up on that. That's perfectly fine. And you can go for the ultimate, you can go for the pressure, but be careful with the long range damage, just poke damage in general. You don't want to get poked really hard when you getting closer to anybody. I think always try to think there's going to be more zigzag movement, yeah, like sort of going left, right sort of thing. You don't want to go right in their face in the line, because it's going to be much easier for them to do damage. You need to throw off their aim a little bit more. And of course, try to get as close as possible before you do this, before you kind of make the move towards them, if possible. That's how I would put it. Okay, I think that's about it. At least this replay. Yeah, that's what I would start with to work on. Okay, we have more. Okay, we have more people. I think we have time for one more. Let's do one more. Okay, are we getting Argur? All right, let's start with your game, and it's gonna be Rogue as well. All right, let's take a look.
Rogue again.
Yeah, let's take a look. Maybe I can focus on around the same stuff, but yeah, what are your thoughts? Let me see. Only game I could find in recent that was not a one-sided role. Picking up Rogue recently, because Penny is unplayable in the supports, would like feedback on the engage timing mostly, since it's different than on-flank Penny. For example, I had some trouble reaching their backline as much as I would like. Yes, I would say it's mostly... might be do something with setup, like we talked about with StreamYard. I would experiment with this. Yeah, and this is gonna be a good example what you may find yourself doing. Yeah, we watched the first point, how the rogue has been trying to set up. Yeah, maybe searching for the options like this. How can I get really close and make sure that you playing one? You able to get to your team as well if something happens. Yeah, you always kind of thinking about your entire mobility kit, and you playing this one mobility cooldown away. That's how I usually put it. If it's any character, this way you always know that you're in the right spot. You're not too far or you're not too close. Yeah, for example, here Thor, yeah, you have the dash as your mobility tool. Well, that means I can play like here or I can play here. I still can reach my team if something goes wrong, but I also use this as my setup tool, and that's how I would think about this rogue. Yeah, you have a lot of options where you can be because of your mobility, but yeah, anyway, let's see the replay a little bit. Maybe we can come up with something, how we can be setting up to reach their backline. All right, yeah, are there any other notes you have, Arger, or?
Yeah, so what I did the past 2 seasons was just use Penny mobility a lot. Get into their backline, drop a mine, hit a headshot and hit a melee, and that just deletes the support. So I was very active most of the time. And with Rogue, I'm kind of picking it up and learning it because aforementioned playstyle just isn't viable into 275 right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like I'm spending a lot of time playing neutral. Like, I'm there, I'm present, but I'm not initiating anything. Like, I'm not creating as much openings as I would like. Yeah, first one is just the Penny flank. Rogue, I do Rogue right after.
Is it gonna
So after
be
the first fight, I swapped to Rogue here.
okay? The first fight,
But
okay.
I
So
spend a lot of time just, playing neutral in the front line, not being as active as I would like, trying to find an opening.
interesting. Yeah, let's take a look. Let's see what we can start with. Okay, so this is when make the swap maybe a little bit. Okay, even earlier. Yeah, so right after this, I believe. Yeah, we'll make the rotation get closer. All right. So, okay, starting with this. All right. Trying to reach that backline here. Sure, you have an advantage, so why not? You can keep chasing anybody, but this is your preference, though. This is what I want you to always be cautious about, is what is the most active angle they have, so it will not disrupt your push. It's always you pushing up and taking space, but you're kind of going over what is gonna be the most suitable kind of highest threat target, let's put it this way. Yeah, so we usually like to, if I can deal with this somehow, I can just pressure the off angles. Usually it's gonna be the preference. You have the mobility, so I would say why not. Yeah, but going after Jeff is, I guess, is also fine, but I would just maybe like you to go after this guy first there also. No, that's alright. Okay, a little bit of pressure, sure, yeah, push them back, but then be ready for the next fight. Let's see. Playing the choke, you guys should be capturing the point. That's fine, don't extend too far forward though, but yeah, let's see what we can get. So see, this is what I think. You can always look for engagements like this, but I'm just trying to think about, like we talked about with Sumiata, what are your options if you can get closer, but do it from 90 angle side. So I'm not necessarily going like this in their face and they go back, yeah, but you rather give them a choice. They either have to turn around and deal with you, or they have to deal with the rest of your team. And while there's nothing you can do, you can maybe spend this time setting up. So basically, I don't even have to take a fight here. Maybe I can just, well, unless there's a kill option, of course, but maybe I can always try to come up with things I can set up. Yeah, like maybe I can get closer by using this lane, or I'm trying to think, maybe it's gonna be this left sideline here. Yeah, maybe it's just something more creative you can think about, kind of diving their backline too. Do you let them pass in the kill box and then you start doing something? Because when you start doing something too early, then your abilities might get forced, and at the same time they might kite you. They might just go back a little bit. Yeah, but what if I can be more patient and then dive in? And instead of keeping it always kind of more frontline fight, if that makes sense. Of course, sometimes might be okay, but yeah, what are your thoughts actually? What do you think?
Yeah, I think this fight's a good example of what I saw in the VOD. Like, I spent a lot of time frontlining here. I would have gotten more value doing this on Thor, on Thing, on Strange than I would on Rogue. So I feel like this fight is one that I should have taken differently. but I'm not finding the angle myself, like how I could have pushed this differently in this fight, for example.
Yeah, so it's
Like
just
how could I have been more active here? Like, my idea was maybe go for the Emma and then beeline into their backline with diamond form. But I also think I would have just hard fed if I did that. So I just end up brawling on the front line too much, I think.
yeah. Well, what are your thoughts? What are the ways? So ultimately, we need that short range sideline, but at the same time, we need to abuse the fact that you have mobility, right? So it's gonna be definitely not this face-to-face war. So what are your options? Where could you go from here? Is there a
think
way?
My best bet here would be maybe to go right, then top, and then go over the bridge and drop onto our backline.
Yeah, let's do that.
Um,
Yeah, maybe. Maybe it can also be like I said later, it's just gonna be this side too, the left side as well. Some of these options, but it's always you have to read the timings. Yeah, make sure that you make the rotation on time when the rest of your team is able to fight as well, because obviously the uptime is important too. But during this time, where there's not much happening, your second group is not ready yet. I feel like spend this time, just invest your mobility into the better position. And then after that, you can do whatever you want to, because I think you're right. You don't want to spend time like this face-to-face fight, frontline warrior. Abuse the fact that there's going to be some sort of angle we can set up to, in my opinion. Of course, there's going to be a good reason why we can also fight this, do it face-to-face, but I would just say most of the time, options like this. And I seen people even going for the flanks too. It's doable. You have the ability to do so as well. Why not? I would just search for this. As long as it's gonna be a more short-range sideline, why not? And this also baits the enemy in your space a little bit. Also, let me see. Would you say Rogue is a mix between Brawl and Dive? Oh yeah. Well, you could say that. Yeah, you could say that, because you still have the sustain power, right? But you also have the dive ability. It's just you don't have as much mobility compared to Venom, for example. You cannot go from point A to point B really fast. Well, you have the mobility, but with Venom, we can go across the map in the seconds, and the swing is just gets you to the flank instantly, almost. Right? With this character, you can get to the flanks, but there's gonna be more. How I put it? It's not gonna be too fast rotation. That's first, and second, you also have to make sure that. No, I would say that's it. No, that's the main difference to me. Just make sure that it's not taking you as fast to get to the backline. If you're talking about the mobility, that's what I think. And so this entire fight is just can be different. It feels maybe was doing this here, was trying to set up somewhere around here. That's my point of view, at least. Obviously, a lot of the stuff around the micros we can do, but I wouldn't focus on that right now. Especially at this rank, I feel like, and there are already a bunch of videos out there, like what combo to do when. I would rather focus on more macro stuff. Just see, okay, like this here, this is what I would prefer you doing, and probably. If you can also spend the time, like, kind of use your abilities. Let me see. So we're starting here, and if I can invest my abilities to help me to set up on this angle, if you have time to do that, I think that's fine. So this feels much... Yeah, this feels much better to me. What are your thoughts, Argur? Is there anything... can you make this engagement better, or...
Yeah, I think I shouldn't have retreated back to my team there. I think I should have hard committed to the backline there.
Yeah.
I ulted, I got scared, and then I went back towards my team and got the strength shield. I think if I committed into the backline here, it would have been better, because I'm also stealing their passive healing.
Let's also think about this. If you need to rotate, then what would be the better place for you to rotate to? If you really need it.
Well, behind me is a safe retreat option. I think going to the stranger was the bad play. I think going straight forward is a bad play, because that space entirely taken by their team.
Yes.
So I have two options: either retreat back to where I came from, or go right here and full commit into their supports.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because I'm thinking always try to search for the option to come back to your own suitable angle, yeah, because a lot of the players, when they engage and then you instantly go back to your backline, you spend too much time again to try to set up, and this takes time, but I can go from here to anywhere else and just try to make sure I have this presence, even though I will not be diving. Let's say you read a low HP for whatever reason, you read alone resources, then this is still fine. I can technically, let's say I'm here, or I'm on this right side here I started with, it's gonna be better because I can always engage again, and at the same time you still receive the support too. In theory, if we're fighting for the same area, once you have line of sight on your team, you should be good, you should be okay. Yeah, that's what I always think is good to do. Is any diver too, by the way, the G-Dog, that's something what we maybe didn't mention, Venom, yeah? Once you go in, you can always search for the options. What is that next angle I'm taking? I don't have to go back to the main again. It's just I can go back to an angle, so that, yeah, I would definitely do that, because now these guys, which are bad at frontline war anyway, we're stuck fighting them face to face. But I would rather you try to search for options to split their resources. We talked about, I think it's been a few classes ago, we talked about how to play versus the Brawl, and they have pretty high sustain, more Brawl oriented team as well, kind of. And I'm thinking just trying to split their resources most of the time. You kind of make them rotate, make them drag somewhere else to the other space is always good play for you. So that's why I'm thinking, try to go back to an angle. Don't go back to the frontline war, because that's something what we eventually might lose here. Yeah, Foxfire, thank you for your time. Need to head over to community scrims. Yeah, it's all good. Yeah, I'm glad to help out. Yeah, Argur, yeah, do you want to watch one more fight, or is there anything in particular you're interested in?
I think there's one more like real team fight maybe, if you still have time.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we still have time. Yeah, let's do one more. Okay, let's see what, well, at least in here, we should be okay. Okay, we won this one. See our setup, what are our options. Okay, getting closer. Maybe even searching for the flank, like we said, yeah? Just maybe something, if you have the time. Why not? Yeah, that's gonna be tough. That's gonna be tough. Just starting out here, right? And you know this is coming. The face-to-face fight is coming. So, what are your options? Well, what if... Yeah, what do you think, actually? How you could set up? Because the fight is gonna take place, what? For the street here? So where you would set up, potentially?
I mean, looking back at it, I think I should have been more patient here. I assumed the Jeff would be an isolated target, which I think is a bad assumption because they were all spawning in.
Yeah, they're coming back.
So I was just full fed there. I think if I waited behind like the pillar on the left, for example, waited for 1 or 2 tanks to push past me and then go in their backline, they would have created more value here. I think I full fed that engage.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think about any other option. Yeah, maybe we can sneak in. Well, it just, my concern is sometimes when you sit at the corners like this, you might get scouted early, so you kind of get poked out and then you have to go away. So maybe try to experiment and see what the areas of the map allowing you to do. For example, if I maybe sit here, might be not a bad idea, yeah? Because this is not like the most common route, that's first. And second, these guys, if they will be crossing to push you, then they also have to deal with this space, which is kind of more scary compared to them being here. But I don't know. I would try to see what the map allows you to do. Yeah, I think it's definitely a viable option, though. Try to sit around the corner. But if there are angles which you think if you make them cross a little bit without getting noticed, without getting poked, if you can make it, that's going to be really good, too. But yeah, that's my thoughts. That's my thought. Okay, anyway, do you have any final questions about the sweep play?
No, thanks.
All right.
Thanks for your time.
Yeah, no problem, no problem. Glad to help. Yeah. Okay, then I think we're gonna end here. And yeah, you guys, if you're gonna have any questions, anyone in here in the chat or just in the, if you guys watching the recording too, just let me know. Send me any message on the Discord. I will help you out. Okay, let's end here then, and I'll see everyone later. Good luck in the games.
Thank you.
Yeah, bye-bye.